Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders' approach to team management and player contracts has undergone a seismic shift following the change in ownership from Dan Snyder to Josh Harris. Terry McLaurin, a cornerstone of the franchise since joining under Snyder, now finds himself navigating a completely different organizational landscape. Unlike the days when Snyder would frequently intervene in decisions, often overruling staff and causing friction behind the scenes, Harris has cultivated a model of informed oversight rather than top-down control. ESPN insider John Kame sheds light on this transformation, highlighting that while McLaurin's contract negotiations are taking place under Harris's leadership, the philosophy guiding the process is far more structured, transparent, and methodical. Harris's involvement is deliberate but restrained, relying on thorough reports from his executives and asking pointed questions rather than issuing ultimatums. This paradigm shift has created a more analytical, process-driven environment in which McLaurin's value is carefully assessed, and strategic considerations dominate the discussions, rather than reactive public pressure or headline-driven decisions, reflecting a profound departure from the Snyder era. Negotiations surrounding Terry McLaurin's future with the Commanders are emblematic of the team's new operational style, one rooted in methodical analysis and meticulous evaluation rather than emotional impulses or external spectacle. Under Snyder, decisions were often made swiftly, influenced by public perception, media narratives, and personal instincts, sometimes at odds with the recommendations of general managers, coaches, or contract specialists. In contrast, Harris's methodology is collaborative, relying heavily on the expertise of his front office. Reports are prepared with comprehensive data, including player comparisons, statistical analyses, and market evaluations, providing him with a full picture of potential contractual outcomes. When evaluating McLaurin, Harris is said to probe these documents extensively, questioning assumptions and requesting additional context when needed. This creates a dynamic where decisions are not rushed but are instead deliberated with precision, ensuring that every angle is explored before any agreement is made. For McLaurin, this environment requires patience, understanding, and the willingness to engage in constructive negotiations, reflecting a level of professionalism and strategic thought that contrasts sharply with his earlier experiences in this league. While McLaurin's public trade request initially suggested tension or dissatisfaction, sources indicate it was primarily a strategic maneuver to gain leverage in contract discussions, rather than a signal of discontent with the organization. In today's NFL, players increasingly leverage public statements to influence negotiations, and McLaurin's approach appears calculated to accelerate the dialogue with the Commanders while ensuring he maximizes his value. Despite this, both sides reportedly desire to continue their partnership, recognizing the mutual benefit of collaboration. The front office, led by team president Jason Wright and general manager Martin Mayhew, has remained committed to crafting a deal that satisfies McLaurin's aspirations while aligning with the organization's financial strategy. Harris's style, emphasizing informed decision-making without succumbing to external pressures, means that the final agreement will reflect a careful balancing act, honoring McLaurin's talent, securing the team's competitive future, and maintaining organizational integrity. The negotiation, therefore, has evolved into a sophisticated process, blending strategic leverage, analytical precision, and long-term vision, a reflection of the new Commander's philosophy. Compromise is a central theme in the McLaurin negotiations, as all parties understand that achieving a resolution requires concessions on multiple fronts. McLaurin, as one of the league's premier wide receivers, naturally seeks financial terms that reflect his production and market value, while the white-haired Commanders are tasked with balancing salary cap constraints and long-term team building goals. Harris's approach ensures that these compromises are not dictated by emotion or public opinion, but through careful evaluation of comparable player contracts, projected performance metrics, and team needs. Each counter-proposal is backed by data-driven reasoning, allowing for transparent discussion and informed decision-making. Analysts and insiders note that this framework increases the likelihood of a mutually beneficial outcome, as McLaurin and the organization can objectively assess what is feasible while preserving trust and alignment. By requiring patience, negotiation discipline, and strategic insight from both sides, the process reflects a modernized front office culture that values sustainable decisions over headline-grabbing maneuvers, demonstrating a profound evolution in Washington's operational approach. The timing of McLaurin's contract talks is critical for the Commanders' Super Bowl aspirations, as the wide receiver represents a foundational piece of the team's offensive strategy. A delay in reaching a deal could impact roster planning, free agency strategy, and salary cap allocation, potentially hindering the team's competitiveness. Conversely, a timely agreement would stabilize the offense, provide clarity for coaching, staff, and reinforce the organization's commitment to building around its top talent. Harris's philosophy, which emphasizes thorough analysis and careful vetting of proposals, ensures that when a deal is finally reached, it is both strategically sound and operationally sustainable. Observers note that this process also strengthens internal alignment, as front office executives, coaches, and ownership collaboratively validate decisions before contracts are finalized. For McLaurin, this means that patience is not a barrier, but rather an investment in long-term stability, positioning both player and franchise to pursue success cohesively. The role of the Commanders' front office in McLaurin's negotiations cannot be overstated, as the executives act as the primary architects of the deal, while Harris provides oversight without interference. General Manager Martin Mayhew and Team President Jason Wright compile exhaustive reports, analyze market trends, and present reasoned arguments for proposed contract structures. Their work ensures that Harris has the information necessary to ask targeted questions, explore alternatives, and make informed decisions. Insiders highlight that this structure allows ownership to maintain strategic alignment without micromanaging, a stark departure from Snyder's historically hands-on and often unpredictable style. For McLaurin, this means navigating a negotiation that values logic and transparency, with each party clearly articulating needs, constraints, and expectations. The result is a professional, evidence-driven environment where contractual outcomes are determined by careful deliberation, market benchmarks, and mutual recognition of value, reflecting the Commanders' commitment to long-term organizational health and competitive viability in the NFL landscape. Harris's approach to ownership and decision-making has transformed the culture of the Commanders, fostering a climate where information, analysis, and strategic reasoning guide outcomes rather than emotion, media pressure, or reactive instincts. This philosophy has significant implications for McLaurin's negotiations, as the wide receiver's market value, performance metrics, and leverage are carefully considered within a broader organizational context. Rather than yielding to external narratives or public sentiment, the front office evaluates proposals based on internal priorities, team-building objectives, and comparative market data. Harris's insistence on thorough understanding ensures that decisions are informed and aligned, providing clarity for executives and players alike. The process emphasizes collaboration, accountability, and measured deliberation, encouraging all parties to consider both immediate financial considerations and long-term strategic impact. For McLaurin, this means engaging in negotiations that are methodical, transparent, and designed to produce an outcome that serves both personal and organizational interests, ultimately benefiting the Commanders' competitive prospects. Despite the public perception of tension surrounding McLaurin's trade request, the relationship between player and team remains fundamentally strong, with both sides recognizing their mutual reliance for on-field success. McLaurin's talent as a premier wide receiver is integral to the Commanders' offensive strategy, while the organization's infrastructure, coaching staff, and resources provide the environment for him to excel. Analysts suggest that the public nature of his request was a tactical maneuver, intended to accelerate discussions and clarify priorities rather than signal irreparable conflict. Harris's leadership model mitigates the risk of impulsive reactions, ensuring that negotiations remain focused on data, performance, and strategic alignment. By emphasizing rational evaluation over public pressure, the commanders create conditions conducive to reaching a fair, sustainable agreement that maximizes value for both parties. This approach reflects a mature, modern organization that prioritizes long-term success over immediate spectacle. For the commanders to maximize their competitive potential, finalizing McLaurin's contract swiftly is crucial, as delays could impact off-season planning, roster construction, and team cohesion. Wide receivers' presence influences offensive schemes, draft strategies, and salary cap management, meaning that an unresolved contract could create uncertainty across multiple operational dimensions. Harris's methodology ensures that each step of the negotiation is deliberate and well documented, providing a framework for informed decision-making that balances McLaurin's market value with organizational priorities. Observers note that this structured process allows for transparent compromise, ensuring that all parties understand the rationale behind proposed terms, potential trade-offs, and strategic implications. Or by combining patience, discipline, and analytical rigor, the commanders position themselves to achieve a contract outcome that is equitable, sustainable, and aligned with both short-term ambitions and long-term objectives, reinforcing their commitment to professional, data-driven governance. Ultimately, McLaurin's ongoing contract negotiations with the commanders highlight the evolution of an organization transitioning from impulsive, media-driven decision-making under Snyder to a structured, analytical, and strategic model under Harris. The process reflects a commitment to methodical assessment, collaborative problem-solving, and transparent communication, with the front office playing a central role in designing proposals and providing context, while Harris oversees with thoughtful inquiry. Both player and organization recognize the necessity of compromise, patience, and mutual understanding to achieve a fair resolution. By prioritizing long-term alignment, strategic clarity, and evidence-based decision-making, the commanders not only strengthen their relationship with McLaurin, but also establish a precedent for future negotiations, signaling a new era of professionalism and calculated risk management. The ultimate goal remains clear: preserving elite talent, fostering organizational coherence, and creating a foundation capable of sustaining championship-level performance in the highly competitive environment of the NFL. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Terry McLaurin not staying with the Washington Commanders is creating a whirlwind of speculation across the NFL landscape, and fans are already buzzing with questions, theories, and concerns. McLaurin, who has long been considered one of the most talented and consistent wide receivers in the league, seems poised to leave a team that has struggled to match his on-field brilliance with adequate quarterback support and organizational stability. The rumor mill suggests that contract disputes, disagreements over the team's direction, and McLaurin's own ambitions to compete for championships are fueling this potential departure. Within the locker room, sources hint at a mixture of disappointment and understanding, as teammates recognize both his talent and his desire to find a situation that maximizes his career trajectory. Across social media platforms, the speculation has ignited debates among analysts, fans, and casual observers, each weighing in on whether the Commanders will attempt to retain him or let him walk in free agency. McLaurin's name has already started surfacing in trade discussions, and while nothing is officially confirmed, insiders suggest multiple teams are preparing to make aggressive offers, anticipating the chance to acquire a receiver of his caliber. His presence on the field has always been a spark, turning broken plays into highlight reels and consistently demanding double coverage, which has opened opportunities for his teammates. Coaches in the league reportedly view him as a player who can immediately transform an offense, particularly for quarterbacks who thrive on timing and precision. The potential exit of McLaurin also raises questions about the Commanders' long-term strategy, especially regarding talent retention and how the front office approaches free agency and draft planning moving forward. Analysts are weighing scenarios in which the Commanders might replace him internally through draft picks, trade acquisitions, or by promoting less experienced players. But skepticism remains about whether any of those options can replicate the production and consistency McLaurin has brought season after season. Fans, meanwhile, are already expressing frustration and concern, feeling that the team's inability to secure his future could mark another chapter in a cycle of losing talented players without championship results, a narrative that has haunted Washington for years. The rumor continues to evolve as more insiders share glimpses of negotiations, potential destinations, and McLaurin's own public statements, all of which fuel the growing chatter about where he might land next. From a broader league perspective, acquiring McLaurin could significantly alter team dynamics and playoff prospects, making his eventual decision a topic of intense scrutiny among GMs and coaches. The uncertainty surrounding his future is already shaping the conversation for the upcoming draft and free agency period, as teams prepare contingency plans depending on his availability. Meanwhile, the Commanders' management remains tight-lipped, neither confirming nor denying the speculation, which only adds to the sense of mystery and urgency around the situation. Observers are analyzing every press conference, interview, and social media post for clues, treating each word as potential insight into McLaurin's next move, creating a high-stakes environment where rumor and reality blur. Amid all this, McLaurin's legacy with the team is also a point of discussion, as fans debate whether his departure would diminish his impact or whether it would be remembered as a necessary step in his pursuit of greatness. Conversations around salary cap implications, draft compensations, and potential trade packages are intensifying, highlighting how pivotal his status is not just for Washington, but for the league as a whole. The narrative continues to build, a mix of uncertainty, excitement, and strategic maneuvering, keeping fans glued to every update, every whisper, and every possible development as the saga of Terry McLaurin and the Commanders unfolds with dramatic intensity. Terry McLaurin's potential departure from the Washington Commanders is sparking endless speculation, with rumors suggesting that multiple franchises are ready to make a significant push to acquire him. Sources indicate that teams with young, promising quarterbacks see him as the missing piece to elevate their offenses to elite levels. Analysts are dissecting every angle, from his route-running precision to his ability to create separation under pressure, noting that McLaurin's skills are rare and highly coveted. Inside the league, whispers hint that McLaurin is weighing not just financial incentives, but also the quality of the team around him, the offensive scheme, and the chance to compete for a Super Bowl. Front offices reportedly have scouts reviewing every game he's played in the last 3 seasons, creating a frenzy as teams try to project how he would fit within their system. Meanwhile, the Commanders' internal meetings are rumored to be tense as executives grapple with the possibility of losing a star who has become the face of the franchise and one of the most reliable weapons on the field. Discussions are said to involve contract structures, potential trade packages, and even draft considerations as the organization tries to position itself to either retain him or gain value in return. Fans have begun speculating on social media about possible landing spots, debating which teams would benefit most and whether McLaurin's presence could shift the team from playoff contention to serious championship consideration. The quarterback connection is central to these discussions, with experts noting that pairing McLaurin with an elite signal caller could transform an offense almost instantly. All this is happening while McLaurin maintains a professional front, avoiding public comments that might tip his hand, adding layers of mystery to a saga that continues to capture headlines, chatter, and attention across the NFL landscape, proving that his influence extends far beyond any single team's playbook. Reports suggest that McLaurin has been in private discussions with several teams, exploring opportunities that could maximize both his career growth and his immediate impact on the field. Sources close to him indicate that his decision will likely factor in offensive philosophy, coaching stability, and long-term organizational commitment. making the process more complex than just financial considerations. The Commanders' approach, meanwhile, is reportedly cautious as they attempt to balance the optics of retaining a franchise star with the realities of their salary cap situation. Rumors indicate that conversations about restructuring contracts or offering incentives have taken place, but there's no clarity on whether these negotiations have bridged the gap between McLaurin's expectations and what the team is willing to offer. The speculation has already energized media outlets, podcasts, and fan forums, each presenting scenarios, trade rumors, and what-if analyses that keep the story alive on a daily basis. Observers are examining his stats, injury history, and consistency, all in an effort to predict how his potential move could reshape team dynamics across the league. Coaches reportedly view him as a rare talent who can redefine an offense, particularly for quarterbacks who excel with timing and anticipation. Inside Washington, there's a mixture of frustration and resignation among fans and analysts alike, many noting that if McLaurin departs, the Commanders may face a challenging road ahead. In finding comparable production, the narrative around McLaurin is evolving rapidly, blending facts, hints, and speculation into a story that feels part sports drama, part high-stakes business negotiation. Across social media, fan reactions range from shock to excitement, each interpreting the situation through the lens of loyalty, hope, or strategic foresight, making it one of the most compelling storylines in the NFL at this moment. Insiders indicate that McLaurin's agent is actively gauging interest from multiple franchises, creating an environment where the next few weeks could be pivotal in shaping the receiver's career trajectory. Rumors suggest that both AFC and NFC teams are monitoring the situation closely, with some front offices reportedly preparing preemptive trade packages in case Washington decides to entertain offers. Analysts have been quick to project the impact of McLaurin's departure on the Commanders, noting that losing a player of his caliber could force significant adjustments in offensive schemes and draft strategy. Sources claim that executives are debating whether to pursue immediate replacements through free agency or rely on younger talent, a decision that could define the team's competitiveness for years. Meanwhile, fans continue to speculate feverishly about possible landing spots, debating which franchises could offer McLaurin both the exposure and success he seeks. Social media platforms have become battlegrounds for analysis, with highlight reels, statistical breakdowns, and mock scenarios being shared relentlessly, all reflecting the high level of interest surrounding his potential move. Coaches in other teams reportedly view him as a transformative asset, one capable of immediately elevating a team's passing game and drawing defensive attention that opens opportunities for teammates. The ongoing rumor mill has created a tension-filled atmosphere where every press conference, tweet, or insider leak is dissected for clues about the future of one of the league's most electrifying talents. As the story develops, it's clear that McLaurin's next step will not only affect his own career, but could trigger ripple effects across multiple rosters, salary caps, and strategic plans throughout the NFL. The intrigue surrounding his potential departure has become a headline, grabbing saga, with fans and analysts alike eagerly awaiting confirmation, speculation, and the eventual outcome, which could redefine the landscape for both player and team. The Commanders' locker room is reportedly absorbing the possibility of McLaurin's departure with a mixture of disappointment, admiration, and pragmatic acceptance. Sources indicate that teammates recognize his importance, both on and off the field, acknowledging that his presence has been a constant despite quarterback changes and organizational uncertainty. Rumors suggest that internal discussions have included ways to support him while also preparing for contingencies, reflecting the complexity of losing a key playmaker without destabilizing team morale. Analysts note that McLaurin's impact extends beyond receptions and touchdowns. His work ethic, leadership, and ability to elevate teammates are central to the narrative of what the franchise could lose. Social media chatter has highlighted fan reactions, ranging from heartbreak to strategic reasoning, as observers debate the wisdom of allowing a player of his caliber to leave versus renegotiating to secure his presence. Speculation also focuses on how losing McLaurin might influence upcoming draft choices, with rumors pointing to potential wide receiver prospects and offensive strategy adjustments as possible mitigations. Within league circles, executives reportedly discuss how acquiring McLaurin could immediately transform a team's passing attack, emphasizing his ability to stretch the field and force defensive adjustments. Analysts are also weighing how his departure might affect ticket sales, team branding, and marketability, underscoring his significance beyond just the statistics on paper. As the story unfolds, McLaurin's name remains a focal point in discussions across broadcast studios, podcasts, and online forums, each dissecting his skill set, potential destinations, and implications for both the Commanders and the league at large. The rumor, while still unconfirmed, has already become a catalyst for debates about team management, talent valuation, and the broader dynamics of player movement in the NFL. League insiders hint that McLaurin's decision-making process involves a careful evaluation of team culture, coaching philosophies, and potential for playoff contention, making his next move more intricate than a simple contract negotiation. Rumors circulating suggest that his camp is looking for an environment where his talents are maximized, with offensive schemes tailored to his strengths and quarterbacks capable of delivering precise timing and chemistry. Analysts emphasize that McLaurin is not only a statistical contributor, but a player who changes the dynamics of opposing defenses, creating space and opportunities for his teammates, which makes him highly sought after. Sources close to multiple franchises indicate that trade discussions are active, though nothing is finalized, with teams reportedly weighing draft picks, salary cap flexibility, and roster composition to make compelling offers. Social media has amplified speculation, with fans constructing hypothetical scenarios and debating which team could best leverage McLaurin's skills to contend for a Super Bowl immediately. Inside Washington, internal deliberations reportedly focus on retaining him without jeopardizing salary cap stability, balancing loyalty with strategic planning. Coaches emphasize that McLaurin's ability to consistently produce against top-tier defenses is rare, reinforcing the idea that his departure could leave a significant void. Rumors also highlight that he maintains professionalism in interviews, providing minimal insight into his intentions, which only fuels further curiosity and debate. Across the league, analysts, GMs, and fans alike recognize that McLaurin's next step will have ripple effects on roster construction, playoff projections, and the broader landscape of player movement, making this an NFL storyline that will dominate headlines and discussions in the weeks to come. The uncertainty surrounding him is now a central narrative, blending sports performance, business strategy, and personal ambition in a way that keeps the NFL community riveted. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.